Hey YouTube, I hope that everybody's doing well today. In today's video, we're going to talk about protecting ourselves from radiation and also EMF waves. So we're going to talk about where radiation comes from, how it affects our bodies, and also how we can protect ourselves from radiation as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump right in. And first off, I want to talk about what exactly is radiation. So radiation is electromagnetic waves. When we hear EMF waves, ultimately it's talking about radiation being released in the form of electromagnetic waves, hence EMF waves. And when radiation is in its highest frequency, it's known as gamma rays, which is deep because sometimes we hear about the sun producing gamma rays that are being shot out against the earth. And that's because the sun is so powerful that it actually produces radiation. The radiation from the sun causes heat on this earth. So radiation from the sun can be both positive, it can also be harmful. So as you know, if we get too much sunlight, it can be harmful, but in the terms of natural sunlight, it is good for us. It gives us vitamin D and a lot of other nutrients, but sunlight is a natural form of radiation. And today's video, we're talking about forms of radiation that aren't natural that can be harmful to our bodies, okay? So I want to get started off and I want to talk about where exactly radiation comes from in our modern world. So we're living in a very technological society these days. We have radiation coming from cell phones, from laptops, from iPads, from Wi-Fi devices, from cell towers, and also microwaves. And one of the biggest things that I would like to center on is cell phones, because we're utilizing these things all the time, you know? And with 5G just being released, the level of radiation and EMF waves is being ramped up. So a lot of the times when people are holding their cell phones in their hand, after a while, you may notice that your hand kind of feels odd. It may feel like it's falling asleep. That's because that level of radiation is being permeated within the tissue in your hand, and your body is not used to that. So what happens is that it can affect your hand on a cellular level. Your hand's gonna feel like it's falling asleep. And you may notice that it may feel like that for a long time. Even if you're moving it and stretching it, it still feels odd because it's happening on a cellular level, okay? When we have cell phones, it's really important to know that we don't want to carry these things. For ladies, you don't want to put your cell phone in your bra strap because ultimately that can cause breast cancer. For guys, you don't want to have it in your pocket all the time. You can have it if you're in public or walking around for a bit, but you want to take it out because what can happen is that can cause issues with, you know, your man parts. You can have prostate cancer, erectile dysfunction, you know, a lot of different things and health problems can generate as a result. So we're going to get into that later when it comes to talking about how to protect ourselves. And also I want to talk about laptops, because a lot of us may work corporate jobs. We may be working a job where we have to be on the computer inputting data. And when we're sitting near laptops, we want to make sure that we don't have them on our lap. That's another catapult for having that radiation sink into our bodies on a cellular level as well, okay? Another thing that a lot of people don't think about is microwaves. Microwaves are sending out a lot of radiation as well. When you're heating up your food, please do not stand near the microwave because that's a lot of radiation happening. And in addition to that, radiation can also be absorbed into our food from microwaves as well. So if you don't have to heat up in your food in the microwave, please heat it up in either a pan or the oven, because microwaves send out a lot of radiation. The last area for where it comes from would be cell towers. I know, like, way back in the day, I used to put about articles about not living near cell towers because there was a study that said people that live near cell towers over time will experience higher rates of cancer, autoimmune diseases, and just having symptoms where radiation was affecting their overall bodies, such as having their hair fall out or having, you know, fingernails turn black. I mean, some odd, unusual stuff because the radiation was destroying their body from the nearby cell tower, okay? So I want to talk more about how exactly radiation affects our bodies. So one of the biggest things would be cancer, because radiation is so strong that when we're experiencing it from cellular devices, from microwaves, what's happening is that it's breaking down the cellular structure of our body and causing a lot of the cells to turn cancerous. So cancer is a huge result of radiation and affecting our body over the long run. Also tumors, once again, because it is breaking down that cellular structure, a lot of the times tumors can be produced. So you may have people that have tumors in different areas of their body as a result of radiation. Erectile dysfunction is a huge one, especially because so many guys nowadays are carrying their phone in their pockets without having the proper protection. And what's happening is that radiation from the cell phone is being absorbed into the genital area, and it's causing the natural cellular structure to break down, and it's damaging the circulation as well. So ultimately, we don't want that, you know? We're gonna get into that in just a bit. And depression as well. Radiation can affect the brain cells and the neurons that are in the brain. And once that's broken down, synapses start misfiring, which can cause depression. It can cause stress. And ultimately, we may never ever know or think that radiation is causing these things. Premature aging is another one because radiation is very strong. And once again, it is breaking things down on a cellular level. So breaking down our skin tissues. And when that happens, the face can become more droopy or can just look lifeless because the life force is literally being drained out of the skin via that radiation. And through all of this, what we're seeing is that radiation is so powerful that it has the capabilities of changing the cellular structure of the body, okay? So you guys, we've talked about all of that. I'm all about getting down to the points of the nitty-gritty, but ultimately I always want to talk about how we can improve, you know, our lives and how we can protect ourselves from radiation. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that. We're gonna talk about some different areas. So first off, you guys, the biggest thing that I want to talk about is a stone called Shungite. This stone is extremely powerful. This stone originates in Russia, and you can get it from a local crystal shop. You can also order it on Etsy. And I'm gonna be posting a link down below where you guys can get this. But what Shungite does is that it absorbs radiation. The stone is so powerful that it locks radiation in and it absorbs the EMF waves. So you always want to make sure that when you're looking for, you know, stones in general that are protecting you from EMF waves, that they're black, because the black stones are very protective and they suck up a lot of that negative energy in terms of EMF waves and overall radiation. So you can have Shungite in your pocket. For guys, if you're carrying your cell phone in your pocket, this is excellent because it's going to help protect your genital area from any radiation. I always carry this in my pocket that I have my cell phone in. Also, you can have Shungite near your Wi-Fi routers. You can have it, you know, near where you're placing your cell phone. You can have it on your nightstand at night so that you're protected while you sleep from any EMF waves. And even if you're at work, you can have this on your desk so that it's absorbing any radiation from your laptop. Shungite is extremely powerful, and I would highly recommend it to everybody because we're in a technological society. We want to make sure that we're protected. All right. The next thing, you guys, is another stone. This one is called black tourmaline, another highly protective stone. And with black tourmaline in particular, it has very similar properties to Shungite, but the difference with black tourmaline is that not only does it absorb EMF waves, but black tourmaline transfers the negative energy from the EMF waves into positive energy that can be utilized in a productive manner. So black tourmaline is very powerful as well. And we want to make sure that we have black tourmaline in our space as well, so that it's converting any EMF frequencies into positive energy, okay? All right, and another thing that I want to talk about is plants, succulents in particular. I have a lot of succulents that are in my windowsills because what's happening is that succulents are so powerful that they will actually redirect magnetic energy, electromagnetic energy, EMF waves, radiation outside of your space. So if there's EMF waves that are coming in from an external source that's outside of my house, what these succulents are going to do is that they're going to push that energy outside so that it's being filtered out through nature. And these are things that are really powerful and cool because they help create positive ions and positive energy in your space through that natural plant energy. So you guys, you can get succulents at Home Depot. You can get them at Lowe's, your local flower shop. I would highly recommend that you invest in some succulents, okay? All right, so for the next one, I want to talk about trees in particular and what they do. So one of the biggest ways to tell about the energy in the area is to look at the trees. Are the trees alive or are the trees dead? This is something where you can tell about the overall energy. Do you hear birds chirping? Do you see bees pollinating flowers? You know, what is the life like in that area? You know, oftentimes we can tell an area that's lively, where the energy is flowing by, the way that nature is resonating with it. And trees, you guys, are highly, highly protective. Trees absorb that radiation and they convert that energy and they push it out, and they push it out in the form of oxygen. They push it out in the form of life, and they're bringing life to us as human beings, but to so many other life forms as well. So we want to make sure that we live in an area with a lot of trees. If I'm ever in a city that has trees, an urban area that has trees, the suburbs, the forest, the mountains, there's this energy that I can feel compared to when I'm walking in a concrete jungle where it feels just cold, where it's just this stagnation, there's this lack of flow that's not there, compared to when I'm walking in some place with a lot of trees and it just feels like a magical paradise. That's because we're feeling that magic energy of the trees in particular. We want to make sure that we are surrounding ourselves with trees, that we live in an area that has a lot of trees. And if we don't live in an area that has a lot of trees, we can bring that to us. We can buy plants. We can, you know, if we have a yard, we can plant trees outside. These are things that we can change on a human level, and things that we can also encourage our friends, family, and future generations to do as well. So you guys, I'm glad to share this knowledge with you guys on radiation and how to protect yourselves. And I would really like to hear your comments and thoughts as well. So please drop them down below, like and subscribe. Peace.